Hello, morning. Well, afternoon now. It's not the morning, but wait a little second whilst everyone is dropping in or saying hi. Welcome back for another Friday in the studio. It's a pretty sunny day today, which is lovely. It's a bit hot, and unfortunately, I've got to have the doors closed because of the noise. They always have like concerts around where we are, and so you can always hear them playing. So I don't want to get a DMC for the Kaiser Chiefs or whatever playing a gig whilst I'm live streaming. So it's a bit hot with the doors closed, but hopefully it won't be too bad. I think everything should all be okay. Today I'm going to be working a bit more on this commission that we started last week. Let me just check everything's all right with the stream. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, it looks like it's all doing fine. On a bit of a delay, I guess, as well. It always seems to be the way. Cool. So, what have we been up to this week? It's been a lot of working on thumbnails still, working on issue 2 of Fruit, currently sort of working out the finer points of that story and the script and doing the thumbnails, and I'll send that off by the end of the week, which is exciting. And then, we're moving on to issue 3. I picked up my cover for issue 1 from the printers. That's all, some old uni stuff on the back there. So this is the issue 1 cover. We'll get rid of the glare. Cherry in all of her, well, put it on the, let's get a full screen of that, eh? So yeah, this is the issue 1 cover in its full glory. Cherry on the front cover there. Might do some more stuff in the background, but yeah, got it all sent off to be photographed. This is oil paints on like a masonite panel, and yeah, the first time this will probably be available will be at Thought Bubble in November. So if anyone is attending that, you'll be able to either see it or maybe even purchase the original cover there and then, which is pretty exciting. So keep an eye out for that. And I'll be working on the cover for issue 2, I think probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm kind of waiting for, I'm going to work with a model, like a life drawing model for a couple of the poses and stuff that I wanted to do for the cover, just because it makes it a hell of a lot easier to paint when you're not using from a bit more of a reference point. But I'll share a bit more of that process on the socials, which you can follow if you want to. You can follow the my Instagram, which is @CallumGillespie. The link should be in the description of this video. And also on Discord, we have like a small Discord of people who make comics, and they sort of talk about their work and what they're working on and any advice and stuff that they have. So if you are a comic book artist or want to get more involved in comic book artistry, if that's even a word, then join our Discord, and share your stuff, and we'll talk through that sort of stuff. It's a good place to be. It's a little small community at the moment, but hopefully we'll be growing more and more as sort of time goes on. So today, back with Batgirl, the commission that we were working on the last week, and we kind of got this little thumbnail idea up which we were enjoying it quite a lot. It's some nice perspective. I think it's a pretty cool starting point. One of the comments that we made on socials last week was about Batgirl being a girl's girl, and that little clip kind of took off a little bit. And I think what we really wanted to put into place, I think Batgirl really would have a lot of stuff and trinkets and God knows what else on her satchel. So I'm quite excited to sort of put in all those sort of things. I'm just trying to work out what the Batgirl, I'm trying to work out what the Batgirl equivalent of a Sunny Angel would be, or that sort of thing. So if you have any ideas of what Batgirl might have on her satchel, please let us know in either the comments or the chat so that I can include it in this commission. And so what I intend to do once I've got these thumbnails is I'll drop the opacity right down, and then that will be the starting point for the sketch that I'll put on top, so the sketch layer. I'll still probably use a round brush for this because I'm not too fussy about it. Just trying to keep it simple. I kind of find that the round brush is the best. I can use others, but it's just a bit more direct, isn't it? It's just like kind of useful for that. The other brushes that I kind of use is I've got this, I guess it's like a, can you call it like a pencil? It's kind of this sort of chalky brush, and you can kind of like layer it, but I always feel like it never gives that good line unless you really push quite hard on it. So I tend to not use that one quite as much at this point, so mainly just using the hard round brush for a lot of it, to be honest. Sometimes even just like an elliptical one is quite fun. So you could even try that. So the one thing that I do tend to turn off for is a pressure sensitivity. So I'll turn that back on for this part of the drawing, just so I can get a bit more detail on there. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining as well. It does mean a lot that you guys are willing to hang out whilst I'm in the studio on a Friday. It's just like a quite fun way to end the week. So if anyone's working on stuff on their own, please feel free to share it. You can drop it in a Discord, or just let us know what you're working on if you're drawing along or anything like that, or if you have any questions. Try and answer them best I can. I think that's a little bit of a big bat cow. I need to actually remember what Batgirl's cow kind of looks like. I feel like I've forgotten. Let's have a look, see if I can pull up a reference for that. Does go over her nose, eh? So just need to work out where those eyes are going to be looking, but for the moment. And then round this way. Cool. I think that should be all good. It's kind of looking a little bit wonky. In terms of that head and neck placement, so I reckon. Okay. With a wavy hair situation. Not sure if I love the way that little strand is going, so chunk that out. I think actually this like straighter line down here is a little bit more beneficial. Pardon me. And again, I think that this might be a little bit wide. Can't recall. How I want this suit to go, because I feel like I don't really want a strap in the same way, like a chin strap. I feel like it should just end round the face where we want it to. I think still want to work out. Right. Okay. Save that problem for later. This is shape. And we're going to go under, over. Okay. Right. That shoulder doesn't seem like it's in the best place there. So let's do the rest. I need to work out. Sometimes it helps just to bring that underdrawing up just a little bit, so I'm kind of, a bit more. It's like because I undercut that a little bit. I'll bring this up to about 15% or something, just to give you a bit more of an idea of forms and stuff that's going on. This will be the underside of that t-shirt. I'll reference that logo a bit later, because we all know people will be in the comments being, that's not the Batman logo, that's not the Batgirl logo. Yeah, I've got no idea what it even looks like, so I know it's a bat. So I'm going to guess that for the moment, and we'll sort it out at a later date. Cool. And then feel like that back feels a bit, this whole section feels a bit large. Maybe something more like this. Come even more like round this way. Have the deltoid. A little bit of an elbow. And then into said back gloves of some description. Right. You should think bringing this up. Down and up is probably a bit more satisfactory. And then this will come down here. Someone pumping their songs out. Sorry if you hear that one on the YouTubes in the background. Tell you, there is a couple of things that I do like doing in these sort of character designs, because I think it's something that's like, especially when it's like commissions and I don't know, just generally I think when doing characters, especially comic stuff, sort of things like like Batgirl or whatever, there's this constant narrative that these characters are kind of like, well, they have all these like storylines and God knows what else and lore, but then they're just like this super depiction of like beauty and or perceived beauty standards, etc., etc. And I think it's one of these things where a lot of these characters, you're meant to relate to the story in some way, right? You're meant to like see some aspect. And like, I'm all for drawing pretty pictures and whatever, but I don't know, there's some part of it that I like putting in like little crooked teeth, or like, I don't know, like an over not a tiny little nose in every drawing, because I think it's just much more interesting. I think your character becomes like so much more real. Because like people are so different, and there's such a huge variation in like nose shape and lip shape and as well. So like, play around with it. I think it's kind of exciting opportunity to be able to, depict characters a little bit differently. But yeah, so that's something that I always like to do. Crooked teeth, wonky noses, it's in. I'm telling you, I heard it here first. chin is not right though. Bum bum bum. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just so important. It's like a little Easter egg that I like. I think it just feels like more like a real person, and you just draw them with just not like perfect every single feature. You know, what if your Batgirl's got to save the world? Like, she ain't got time to go to the dentist constantly. You know, she's not spending hours with a Invisalign in her mouth. She's got to fight bad guys, and if that means you have wonky teeth, that means you have wonky teeth. But anyway, that's just my my ramblings. But yeah, you should let me know down below if you think Batgirl has wonky teeth, and if you think superheroes should be a bit more realistic. He says, drawing Batgirl. So I think you're going to do some of that sort of chunky spawn chain along here. You know what I'm talking about, the very classic comic book chain for the back pack. Let's maybe just double check all of our image adjustments. This is where you're all going to look completely mangled. Yeah. I do struggle with having a really strong right hand bias. It's definitely something that I'm trying to work on a little bit. I definitely struggle with that. Especially, it's quite hard though, because not all these figures are in perfect position. This is make a bit more straighter. I'm going to try and even this chin out a bit. Sometimes I find it a bit easier if it's upside down. It's going to be the it's going to be a little bit narrower down this way. Undecided if I'm going to have ears. Yeah, think it's cute. So it'll be like back this way. I think it also leads opportunities for some like nice little earrings or something. Just like little options to be able to add a bit more character. I think is always a good thing. Trying to tell a story without telling a story. God, that sounded like one of those TikTok things. Tell me how to design a character without telling me you're designing a character. Feel like it's just a little bit off to the side, just a touch. Just going to nudge that across. And yeah, I think that's maybe all right. Still think this shoulder is out way too far. This seems way too far out for this arm. Especially with that angle, so I think we'll bring that a bit closer in. And then okay. And yeah, I think these little, it's basically just about working from what I've got already there. It's going to take a few more attempts to get this sketch kind of where we want it to be, and then we'll print it out and ink it properly. I feel like this would come out just a bit wider than the Batgirl is, just so it kind of feels like it's behind the cowl. You get what I mean? Because if you line it up, it's going to feel like it's in front, and we're looking kind of like up forward, and if the ears are kind of back a bit, they're not going to sit like perfectly on that edge. I need to angle that a bit more. And it's also too high for the other ear, if you get my point. Because the perspective on this is like pushing from underneath, up over the top. So you're kind of looking up over, and everything's kind of like warped around it. So the idea is to try and sell that a little bit better. And this peak is, let me come a bit more here. This is where that hot spot of highlight is going to be. And yeah, just thinking a little bit about the sort of shape of the hair and how it's going to fit in with the cape, which is going to like kind of be the other contrasting shape coming off this way. Because I'm not loving how the hair is going this way and then the cape is also going this way. Need to flip it back to the way it was, and then it looks even. This is always the you flip things back and then they look wonky again. Huh? It's probably oversold, if anything. This ear here. So it's just kind of. Straight back. Even say it's not even that curved. Something like this. Let's add a bit more to this side and see if I can square it up. Yeah, it's not too bad. I feel like this is a bit taller on this side. Then the back. Just work on that. This is going to come around this way, isn't it? Just trying to think of the planes of this mask, like how it's gonna be shaped. It's going to be a bit more of like a 3D object, quite angular, which will help contrast with how soft her features are, and will help sell the image a little bit more. Something that I'm still battling with here is these ears, you know. I had to start again on those. Don't think they're in the best spot. Or even if they're quite. What if they're short? I think that's kind of cute actually. Right. Maybe that's the answer. Kind of little like shorter bat ears. think might work. Ooh. Not too sure. I'll have to come back round to that. Need to have some time to think. Over the top, some chunky chain. Alright, I need to overstep this a little bit more. Okie dokie. Right. All right. Here is the big question. What is Batgirl going to have on her satchel? What do we think she collects, chat? I don't think it's a Labubu. I don't think she's going to be that sort of girl. I think it's either going to be a Sunny Angel of, well, whatever that is in the Bat universe. Maybe one of those Crybaby ones. Rosie has a few of those, and I think they're pretty cool. Maybe she's a Hello Kitty girly. Maybe it's Kuromi. I think Batgirl does probably stan Kuromi. Right, we'll have to have a think. If anyone has any ideas of what bag chain, keychain character Batgirl would have, please let us know, and then we can add it to this commission. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Answers on a postcard. I'm pretty sure that arm wouldn't even be there, to be honest with you. I don't know why I was drawing that in. Alright, gonna have a final few minutes on this sketch so far, just sort of tightening things up. Still quite a little bit of ways to go. I'm gonna executive order until next week, when everyone's going to come back to me on what type of girly Batgirl is. I'm going to put the call out to say that she's a Kuromi girl. And so that's what I'm gonna add. But please feel free to let me know what type of character do you think? What type of character do you think Batgirl is going to collect? And then I will be sure to update it with the most popular. Also, just, it's got like that cool skull, doesn't she? And ooh. 100% gonna make this cross-eyed by accident. This is going to look like the most bootleg thing. Honestly, I think it's actually way, yeah. She's not going to be smiling. Absolutely horrendous. Let's get a bit more of a... It's got a tail, I think, as well. Well, I'll have to make that better, but so far, to wrap things up, I will, let you know we've just been working a bit more on this sketch, just for an hour, just to sort of let you know, and yeah, I might carry on working on a bit more off stream today, just sort of chill out. And yeah, hopefully you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all next